Healthcast today, new research here in South Florida is helping children with autism. It's a growing problem affecting 1 out of every 68 children in the United States. Our health specialist, Christy Kruger, has more now on how researchers are testing some natural treatment options.
Awesome. The diagnosis of autism is life-changing for both children and their parents. After the initial shock, many parents go into overdrive, looking for treatments.
This is a condition that's trial and error. If it works, great. If it's not working, you find something else and you keep going until you find something that works.
Lizette Costa's son Alexander was diagnosed with autism when he was just 2. She's tried all types of therapy to help him.
Every single day after school, and we've done speech therapy, we've done hippotherapy, riding the horses, we've done ABA, feeding therapy.
Now Lizette has tried protein supplements. Alexander is part of a double-blind study at Nova Southeastern University, testing a cysteine-rich whey supplement to boost blood levels of glutathione, which is a major antioxidant in your body.
Good job.
Studies have shown that kids on the autism spectrum lack vitamin B12. Researchers want to see if building the level of glutathione will help children behaviorally and socially.
A significant proportion of kids with autism have a deficient antioxidant capacity. So they're not able to fight free radicals from the environment.
Dr. Anna Marie Costajohn and Dr. Richard Deeth have both been working on this study for nearly 5 years. They're looking for treatments other than prescription medications.
So if something goes wrong with vitamin B12 in the brain, for example, you'll have developmental problems that will manifest themselves as brain disorders.
Lizette mixes the powder with Alexander's food every day. She believes the protein supplement does make a difference.
My son is verbal, my son is compliant, my son can read, my son can add, he plays games. This is all new. He didn't do any of this before.
Now, for the remaining year of this study, researchers will test the blood levels for glutathione and then use behavioral measures to see if that protein powder is truly effective. With your HealthCast, I'm Christy Kruger, Local 10 News.
So we have tonight Kenesha Scott, who's going to give us an experience of using unddenatured whey protein with her son Preston. So let's find out if Kenesha's with us. Are you with us, Kenesha? You'll have to unmute.
There we go. Yes, I'm here.
Kenesha, so nice of you to be with us tonight. Thank you very much. Now I understand that your son had some real difficulties with ASD. You want to tell us a little bit about what you experienced with him?
Yeah, so a little bit about my son Preston. He's what they would consider him moderately on the spectrum, and so he a lot of the things that you were talking about earlier when you talk about children that have ASD, he was a child that needed to do things in certain patterns. He was not very okay with his schedules being disrupted. That would often end up in temper tantrums or sometimes a lot of stress-related tantrums that could last sometimes they could last 2.5 hours, could be 30 minutes. It's just any given day. And he's also struggled with speech. He's had very delayed speech. He was probably 1 to 3 words in a sentence, and just a lot of temper tantrums developed out of that because he couldn't express himself. And we've had issues with having nutrient-dense diet as well as bowel movements. For Preston, those could come, anywhere between 1 to 2 months. He could go without a bowel movement. And so we had just been over the period of he was diagnosed when he was about 2. And so between 2 and the age of 7, it was just working with so many specialists. We had neurologists, occupational therapists, ABA therapists, speech therapists, you name it. If it had an ist at the end, it almost seemed like we always saw them.
Well, it's a pleasure to see you smile because I know that can be quite stressful for a parent. But I understand that someone recently shared information about the bioactive whey protein. Tell us a little about what happened then.
Yeah, so when I was told about this undenatured whey protein supplement, I was like any parent, if there's something that's out there on the market you don't know about that can help your children, why not? And for us, it's always been about providing the best for Preston, anything that would help him excel. And so we had gotten this whey protein supplement, undenatured, and we wanted to give it about a week to see what we would see in differences. And I would say within the first week, we were floored. We had a child that went from 1 to 2 word sentences to now he was making full on sentences with descriptors. So I'll give you an example. In the beginning, he could tell you, eat. And that meant he wanted to eat. Within that week, we saw now that sentence became, I want to eat rice, beans, and chicken. So he could tell you what he wanted. As far as his energy levels, we went from a child who didn't really like to go outside and play. Now he was full of energy. Black circles under his eyes had disappeared. And you're probably wondering, well, what was more of the extreme things we saw? Well, to our surprise, our son is also epileptic. And so, seizures, upon getting an ECG done, he was, experiencing 95% of his seizures were coming at night. He would wake up anywhere between within 30 minutes or an hour of being asleep, and that could happen every hour. So he was probably getting a max of about 2 to 3 hours of sleep at night. And during this period that we were trying this undenatured whey protein, I wanted to see off the epileptic medication how he would do at nighttime. So for that week, we did not give him his, he takes levetiracetam, which is, the brand name Keppra. So he takes that medication. We took him off of that for a full week. And my son had his bedtime's at 7:30. And it seemed like we were forcing him to get out of bed at this point. So he would sleep from 7:30 to 9 a.m. uninterrupted. No, was not waking up screaming or crying like we would normally see. One of the biggest things I think we noticed was, we have been to so many endocrinologists trying to get bowel movements from, 1 to 2 months to daily. And within that week, we were seeing, twice a week. He was having regular bowel movements without having to take Ducalax or, Miralax, or any of those, laxatives. We actually were able to completely stop giving him suppositories during that week as well. Since then, he's been on it he's been taking the, undenatured whey protein supplement for about 2 months now. And, he has 3 regular bowel movements a day. His stomach has drastically decreased. He was in about a size 10 to 12 for a 7-year-old, and now he's able to fit some of his size 6 clothing now. So it's just been great. In terms of like his overall mood, we're seeing less of those temper tantrums that last about 2.5 to sometimes 3 hours. His moods have all but stabilized. I mean, we're seeing a kid that's laughing all the time. We had a daughter on, in February of last year, and, Preston is a child that normally gravitated towards himself, and to see him just open up with his baby sister, oftentimes it's like she's running from him now, like, give me my space. So it's nice to see the open personality he's had, especially with me and his dad, just allowing us to come into his personal space. It's no longer waiting for him to let us be invited into his space, but now he's like, okay, yes, you can interrupt my play. So just to see those different things change with him has really been a positive in our life. And I can't say, like, to see our child pretty much wake up in front of us, that's what we've experienced.
Kanisha, what a wonderful story. And I think you've given a lot of hope and confidence to many people that are listening in tonight. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. We appreciate it very
Not a
much.
problem. Thank you all for having me.
Well, I think the point was well illustrated by Kenesha sharing this remarkable story. So what have we learned tonight? We would have found it's very good news for autism spectrum disorder. Absolutely.
Recently, I became aware that autism, it's been found that people, children and adults, have significantly low levels or reduced levels of glutathione. So on the strength of that, we gave our daughter 3 packets a day just to see if it would make an impact. And if anyone's had to deal with a child with autistic traits or learning disabilities, the behavior that goes with it, and the future that is held for them, unfortunately we consider that she was never not unemployable. Often she would be fired within a day, couldn't understand money or calculate anything. Within 2 weeks we noticed a dramatic difference, unbelievable. In 3 weeks I would say she's completely normal, as we would describe normal. And not only that, she now works in a bakery part-time and actually runs the till, so she can calculate money. For this to happen in 3 weeks is almost miraculous. If you had seen her before and where she is now, you would not think it's the same person. Unbelievable.